Hey everyone, so as this channel's growing, we wanted to make more fun videos that wasn't just me talking about cars and me talking about the auto industry. And one of the things I've wanted to do for a really long time is a collab with the wonderful Matt Teskey, who was formerly of Teskey Design, which was involved very, very heavily in the advertising industry, responsible for some really big ad campaigns for the auto industry. Now Matt runs Chargeway, which is, Matt?
Well, it is the branding of electric fuel. It's an easy way to explain and find charging for any electric car using simple colors for plug types and numbers for power levels.
The higher the number,
the faster
the charge. Ad agencies have really struggled to advertise electric vehicles, and they seem to do that because they don't understand what people want. And as we're coming up to National Drive Electric Week, a couple of weeks ago, I asked people on this channel, what do you want in your ideal electric vehicle? And tied in with that, of course, is how do you advertise an electric vehicle? Here's the first ad.
Yeah, I thought these were electric.
It is, yeah. It's a Chevy Volt.
So what are you doing at a gas station?
Well, it still takes gas to go farther.
But you're not getting gas.
True. Not this time.
So awkward.
Don't have to gas up very often.
So you have to go to the bathroom.
No.
Yes, you do.
Thought these were electric.
Yes, it's a Chevy Volt.
So what are you doing at a gas station?
Yeah, the first thing that jumps out at me is the way it strikes me is it's advertising confusion. Like, I mean, really, it's making it out to be like, wow, even this guy doesn't know how to explain it, and he owns it.
Right.
So if I was someone watching that and knew nothing, I'd be like, why would I want to be that guy?
It's like, how are you going to advertise an electric car? I know, we'll go to the gas station.
Right, and the part of that too is they're trying to again play up the fact that it was an EREV or whatever it was first called as another terrible acronym. And again, it's trying to play on humor, but it really, in my view, is something that does more to basically scare people off than anything. Only because it doesn't really get to the core of simplicity. It actually makes it seem odd.
Yeah, we're making electric cars, but we're not really making electric cars.
Right. Well, and it's more car than electric. I like that tagline at the end. I understand what they were trying to accomplish in the sense of trying to normalize it.
Yeah.
Which I think is smart. But then at that point, it really that then focuses on what is the actual question from the consumer, which is, okay, it's a car, so explain the E word, please. And then in this ad, it doesn't do it very effectively. And if anything, it makes the kid look like he's smarter than the guy that bought the car.
I just love the plumes of smoke.
Yeah, that.
Okay, so I'm just going to stop right here. So it's really weird because I don't know if I've been driving for 20 years. I remember because I used to drive classic cars. So you used to have to pump the gas to get it to start. But how many years has it been since we've had to actually pump the accelerator pedal?
Well, there's a lot of things here that I think, again, creatively, I can appreciate this from a creative perspective, but I think where this probably didn't translate to the average consumer is that this is preposterous. I think this speaks more to the people that were on board the purists originally were like, of course I hate all of that smoke and combustion and all those things. And that spoke, I think, heavily to that early adopter, group. I don't know, again, by evidence of how well the vehicle sold, did this capture the imagination and attention of average people? And I think most people probably saw this and went, yeah, but I don't get it. Trying to be cute that way actually ends up doing more harm than good.
All right. So we go from one end of the extreme. We're going to go back even further.
Oh, wow.
This car won't help you get a better table at a fancy restaurant. It may not impress your coworkers. And it won't make up for your receding hairline. It has, however, one quality most automobiles can't claim.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
It will make the world a better place to live in. The zero-emission, pure electric Toyota RAV4 EV. Just one of our many environmental solutions.
One of our many environmental solutions.
Yeah, the hilarity is now, how old is that?
Right.
Come on, guys. Self-charging what? Yeah.
So, I think it's kind of refreshing because a lot of people who watch this channel won't have seen that ad.
Oh, sure.
Right, and that was an original ad from 2001, 2002, when they're starting to get interest in the RAV4. I used to own a RAV4 EV. I loved it. I think it's still probably one of my favorite electric cars I've owned.
RAV4 as a vehicle is a very functional vehicle.
I love it. I loved it, and I was absolutely gutted when we had to let it go. I know that Kate and Elliot just had to get rid of hers because it wasn't because it wasn't working. It was because there was just nowhere to charge it.
Yeah.
Because it used a charging standard that's now obsolete, so it's difficult to drive long distance.
The thing that concerns me is this type of messaging is still finding its way into marketing today for EVs.
Right.
And this is how old? 20 years old? I mean, close to it.
Yeah, it's 20 years old.
We know it's not working. This caters to a very small niche, but I mean, I care about seeing that because I care about the environment and I want to see this type of product accelerated. People don't buy cars because they want to forget about being first in line.
And when was the last time you saw a car being advertised with a flower blooming?
Well,
The tree blooms
right
as the camera pans.
Again, it speaks to a very niche audience. I mean, there's a reason why brands keep going back to the well on retro vehicles, is because the people that are still buying vehicles in mass, that's what they want to feel good about and think about.
Why do we work so hard? For what? For this? For stuff? Other countries, they work, they stroll home, they stop by the cafe, they take August off. Off. Why aren't you like that? Why aren't we like that? Because we're crazy, driven, hard-working believers, that's why. Those other countries think we're nuts. Whatever. Were the Wright brothers insane?
I mean,
Bill
this plays
Gates,
for Donald
Les
Trump.
Paul.
Oh my God.
Were we nuts when we pointed to the moon? That's right. We went up there, and you know what we got? Bored.
I hate that.
So we left. Got a car up there, left the keys in it. Do you know why? Because we're the only ones going back up there, that's why. But I digress. It's pretty simple. You work hard, you create your own luck, and you gotta believe anything is possible. As for all the stuff, that's the upside of only taking 2 weeks off in August. N'est-ce pas?
All right, so this is the ad for the ELR, the Cadillac ELR.
Yeah.
Probably GM's least successful electric or plug-in ever.
The list is short, but I guess that's true.
It is. I mean, it was basically a Chevrolet Volt.
Yeah.
With a Cadillac badge, fancier seats, no improvement in the performance of the drivetrain. Not really. I mean, there were a few tweaks here and there, but it was essentially a $70,000-$80,000 Chevrolet Volt.
I gasped when I first heard the price.
I mean, it's just crazy.
What I did hear about this particular spot, and I forget who I heard it from, was that it was not originally an ELR ad. It was a Cadillac ad, and they ended up putting the ELR in it. It was inevitably going to be like an Escalade, which would have made way more sense for the level of arrogance that was oozing off the screen. But that turned into what is now this infamous ELR ad that basically made anybody look at it and just question themselves thinking, because again, you think about the marketplace at the time, who was buying plugins? That persona of that character spoke to no one that was interested in buying plugins at the time. Maybe this was their attempt to mainstream it, but what it actually ended up doing was, I think, just kind of taking these two concepts of, let's make an Escalade ad and put the ELR in it. And then you see this, this Frankenstein's monster of a creation at the end of it, and it doesn't make much sense.
Let's talk about this one, which is a parody. And we've seen this happen a lot in the electric car world. Mm-hmm. One company will bring an ad out, and it will be so atrociously terrible that someone else will come along and they will basically take that concept.
Why do I work so hard? For what? For this? For dirt? Other countries, they work, they stroll to the market and buy locally grown food. Locally. Why aren't we like that? Well, more and more of us are like that because we're crazy entrepreneurs trying to make the world better. Some people might think we're nuts. Whatever. Me, I collect food scraps from restaurants, manure from zoos. Manure. Do you know why? To keep this stuff out of landfills and use it to make good, rich dirt. That's why. Yeah, look, it's pretty simple. You work hard, you believe that anything is possible, and you try to make the world better. You try. As for helping the city grow good, green, healthy vegetables, that's the upside of giving a damn. N'est-ce pas?
All right.
The close of that is funny. Like, I mean, that is a really good, return punch.
Yeah. And this was actually, maybe you can explain, because this was really quickly after the Cadillac ad. So I don't know if Ford got like a kind of a sneak preview that Cadillac was coming out with this, or whether it was just really super quick, and they were able to just throw up a load of money at it.
Well, I mean, Ford has the money. I think part of it too is the creative concept was done. They just had to parody it. This spoke directly to, I mean, the language she's using, talking about like, oh, manure, you want to know why? Because it keeps it out of landfills, things like that. It's speaking to that niche market that was, thumping their chest about, we got to save the planet. This was right in that vein.
I remember cheering when we were running the original Transport Evolved Sunday shows and that came on. We all cheered.
I think it was a smart response, but then the next step for me goes to, does the product back it up? Like, honestly. No, it doesn't. Then it turns into people that are excited to see that there's messaging out there that are, the EV believers and the early adopters and the innovators that are saying, good, another big ad from an OEM. But then what does the product actually say to the rest of the world? And the answer is, it's still a product that you have to figure out on your own, adjust your lifestyle to appreciate if you really want to. That's not mainstream marketing. That's basically catering to a captive audience.
And these are two plug-in hybrids marketed side by side. But I felt obviously that ad also could be a bit of a put off for people who didn't want to do the whole eco thing.
Oh, exactly. That's when you start with the green messaging, you immediately lose a massive amount of the population, because most of them will say it's not. And again, and it's in fairness to average people, it's not that they're jerks. It's not that they don't care. It's just that a lot of them, and I think most people can agree with this, is that they have lives to lead it's hard for them to think beyond their own bubble. Because they have a mortgage, they have kids, they have a job, they have stresses that make up their own life. And it's difficult for some people to get beyond that and say, how can my actions do good for beyond
other
me?
people?
It's a tough thing for a lot of people.
I can't wait to get up the mountain. Are you sure you want to hike all the way?
You know what? Why don't we just take my new electric car?
Stop wondering. Start driving. The new Kia e-Niro with up to 455 kilometers of electric range. Discover the whole Kia electrified family.
I think, for what they're attempting to do with it, I think it's actually, it accomplishes it well in the sense that it is very comedic. I mean, it is cartoony in the sense of her vision and dream of this, or nightmare as it's portrayed, of, oh my gosh, and it's this little thing that just doesn't even look like a car, and we didn't make it, it's terrible. And then it turns into, no, it's actually it's a car that looks like a normal vehicle, and it can do the trick. I think in that comparison, it works. I will say this, though, in messaging, if ever you know that you are in a marketplace where people are having questions and concerns, and your goal is to get them to stop thinking about that, I always think of that line from Inception when he says, if I say, don't think about elephants, what are you thinking about?
Elephants.
Right.
Exactly.
In the same sense, you don't want to have someone, if we know that the average consumer is thinking like, it's not going to make it, don't showcase that immensely.
At all, yeah.
Just get them to the point of saying, like, be confident about it.
Yeah.
Because you want to instill happiness, but if the first thing you make them think about is fear, even though you supposedly squished the fear at the end of the commercial by showing this product and putting a number up on the screen, you still made them think about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's, again, that can actually do more harm than good.
All right. So this is Monaco, famous race circuit.
I remember there was a spy shot of this when they were filming it.
This is fun.
The hammock is making more noise.
I know. And the ad is, the slogan is "Roar Silent."
I think it's good. I think it's a good tagline. I mean, Jag is a passion brand for automotive.
Yeah.
And And again, depending on how you say it, is it Jaguar or Jaguar or however they're...
I say Jaguar.
Okay, yeah, because
I know Americans say Jaguar.
Oh, I've been made fun of for it. But then I feel absurd saying Jaguar, or however it's said. But I think, again, that's a smart tagline because and I think we also have to remember is that all of these brands are trying to convey where they fit into the electric vehicle conversation. So for them, it is not about electric vehicles. It is about their brand. Some of the visuals and the imagery, like when he zips, it goes flying by in silence and her like scarf or whatever, like her sweater flips up like that. But it's this elegant looking woman that just kind of turns. That speaks to the Jaguar.
Well, it's totally Monaco. I mean, there's nothing out of place here. And I love the way that they keep reiterating the noise. And I mean, this is, if we're talking about truth in advertising, this is completely BS, isn't it? Because we know that a car, any car, electric or not, driving around the Monaco racetrack at speed is going to be making a heck of a lot of noise, even more than the guy welding or the guy in the hammock. But
they took some liberties there.
It's a fun conceit, right?
I think what this does is the marketplace that is buying that brand of vehicle, they are affluent. They have the ability to justify buying the car. They're going to make it based off of an emotional response. This plays to emotion of the hero driving the car. He's clearly having fun.
Yes.
For him, this was like he sneaks onto the track and just goes. And then
he knows he shouldn't. He kind of sneaks past the road sweeper and just goes for it.
Yeah, and I think that all those things play into smart advertising for this brand because it makes someone say, oh, wow, that actually seems kind of fun.
This is it. Eric, don't panic. I'm not panicking. You're panicking.
I just love the zombies. Have you seen this?
No, man, we're running out of gas.
And it's a little Toyota, isn't it?
Yeah.
Little... I love how one of them's got the door still.
He still took the door with him.
Gonna die. Hello, boys.
Okay, what's the one-liner? There you go. Okay.
So that was the weirdest ad, but I loved it when it came out.
I think it's okay. It's
It
fun.
was tapping into The Walking Dead because it was back when The Walking Dead was just coming, like zombie films were kind of coming into vogue. You had Shaun of the Dead and all these others.
Yeah.
And I think it might have been used in the UK actually.
I don't remember that being in the States. Yeah.
But it was just a really fun ad. I just loved it.
It is funny. And then I find what's interesting though is that if you look at it again practically, and again I'm just putting on my hat as like an average person.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so their gas car died. And most people don't have owned gas car. Most people, everybody that's owned a gas car, they've never thought of the phrase range anxiety. That's been coined because of electric vehicles.
Yeah.
So this notion of like, hey, you ran out of gas. Well, yeah, that happens. But then I was like, what car's gonna pull up? And it's the Volt. I'm thinking, okay. I mean, it's got that particular Volt had 35-ish miles of range, and then gas. So as an average person, I would look at that and go, so she was smart enough to stop and get gas. Oh, yes.
Stop frame animation at its not finest.
I will say that lamp, though, the first time I saw this ad, I just couldn't help but think of, like, the brave little toaster or something, and I was just like, oh, yeah! But actually, what I just said out loud speaks to, I think, what is a problem with this ad in the long run.
So, I mean, we are, 20 seconds? No, 40 seconds into the ad and we still haven't seen the vehicle.
Well, that was a big criticism of the advertising for the EV1, was they went out of their way to basically not show the vehicle in their advertising.
The electric car is here.
And I look at, so that's static, that screenshot right there of this car surrounded by all these little appliances. It's cute, it's fun, it's quirky, but I think where it gets it wrong is the sense that, most people don't buy a car as an appliance. And anybody who is saying that about an electric car that says, oh, an electric car is an appliance, my response is, okay, well then you should have no position of power decision making in advertising electric cars. Things are changing. Yes, people are getting into mass mobility as a service. It's like, okay, I'm going to take Uber instead, and maybe one day I'll buy a car. I don't know.
Yeah.
Totally understandable. But to take what has been one of the most passionate products you can buy and just casually try to say, oh no, it's just going to be like a blender now.
And even today, people say, okay, the Tesla model lineup, whether it's the X or the S or the 3 or even the Y, yeah, they've all got great technology, and it's like having an iPad on wheels. I've heard reviewers use that phrase before. And my response to that is, no, it's a high-tech, very fast, very fun range of vehicles that happens to have
an iPad in the dash.
An iPad in the dash, right? When was the last time you saw somebody going to go, okay, I'm going to go down to the local mall and I'm going to drop $80,000 on a new iPad with wheels?
I will say that is the comparison factor is the worst when someone tries to say, oh, an electric car is just like your cell phone. Because people literally jump to what are you talking about? Because they haven't ever thought about it. They go, okay, they pull their phone out of their pocket, and they look at it, and they're standing in front of a car.
And they also then go, okay, so I have to replace it in a year's time.
There's that
because
concern.
It will be out of date, and the battery is not going to last.
Well, or hey, my cell phone dies. That car is going to die.
Yeah.
Again, you have to be careful about language and messaging and what you're saying to people.
All right. Let's look at this one, which is one I've not actually watched.
I am the impossible. I am the idea too bold to be chained,
He's
too
scary.
powerful to be tamed. I am the Big Bang. I'm changing the game for all you worriers, doubters, preventers. I am the idea that has to be born, the revolution that has to be won, the story that has just begun. I am unstoppable. A rocket, a cannonball, a carbon fiber body lighter than wind, stronger than storm. I am born electric. I am sheer energy, the force of tomorrow. I am the possible. I am I-8.
Now, that's that gas motor purr with the electric i8. I mean,
yeah,
there's conflicting imagery and messaging there that you have in one camp. You're going to have the true electric car believers saying, okay, just like even when the Avengers came out recently and the Audi e-tron
had a noise,
the GT rather had the noise. People were like, oh, what are you doing? Again, the authenticity in that sense matters. That's a passionate ad. I mean, the German auto brands have usually done a very good job of capturing passion in their imagery and messaging, and that I think falls into that category. But then it begs the question of, okay, does the product back up what you're saying? And the i8 it's an amazing looking sports car. As an electric car, if you get to know like how it works, you kind of ask yourself, well, it's not really an electric car. I mean, it plugs in, it does have a little bit of range, but for the most part, it is.
But I mean, they're not advertising this car because they want people to buy the i8. They're advertising this ad was not because they wanted people to buy the i8. At least I don't think so. It was because they wanted people to go, oh, look, BMW's doing something. It's different.
I was about to say, yes.
It's the brownie points. It's the, wow, I didn't know BMW made a car that looks like that.
Sure. Well, then
maybe I'll go to my dealer.
Flagship cars matter. Yeah. And the i8 has been that. You want to bring people in to ask the question of, again, you draw them in with the exciting car. You have the Corvette front and center in the showroom, but they end up buying the Cruise. So let's at this point switch to the Jolt. I mean, that's the smart move to make right now. So for those who don't know, Matt is also the guy behind the Chevrolet Jolt EV. I suppose I could maybe call it like a guerrilla advertising campaign. It just appeared one day. I mean, you tipped off some folks in the industry. Yeah. We knew it was coming. Yeah. But it was then a case of you put a website up, you got a domain, Chevrolet Jolt EV, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And it's still up there, right? Yeah, ChevyJoltEV.com. Yeah.
And it was basically you took a concept car that GM had previously displayed, and you put a plug on it.
Yeah.
And you came up with a load of specs, and you took some interior shots from inside of a Bolt. Mm-hmm. and kind of married those together and said, hey, look, this is a new car that's coming. And people bought it, hook, line, and sinker. I mean, it wasn't intended to be like an April Fool or anything like that. It was designed to be a, hey, you want to get people interested in electric vehicles, this is what you need to be making and or selling.
Right. Well, I what I wanted to do was normalize the conversation and dispel all the, you know, the commentary that oftentimes comes from the OEMs and sometimes still does, which is we'd build more electric cars, but no one's asking for them. And so my response was, okay, well, I want my first car was a Chevy, so I wanted to, you know, portray what that was. And the Jolt, I think, if it maintains being a nice case study for what can and should be done, then I think it's living up to what I hoped for, which was just change the conversation, which is if you can get someone to see something and they immediately say, oh, that's cool, I want that. And then after the fact, they find out it might be a little different. They've already made an emotional connection to it. And therefore they begin to make emotional justifications to keep going. Whereas if they see something and they're not already drawn in and you're trying to sell them on emotion, that's a lot harder. Yeah. And so with the Jolt, I just wanted to have people have that response of, I don't care that it's electric, that thing's badass. I would buy that.
Yeah.
And the proof of how many people responded globally saying...
And your website, I think, got brought down the first day or something crazy.
In 30 minutes after it was tweeted out by Chelsea Sexton. And she said, yeah, she's like, this is great. I think she tweeted it at Mark Rice at the time, who was the head of GM North America, and said, I want this in my driveway. Was I think exactly how she said it.
Yeah.
And then immediately the server crashed because I had it on like a shared server somewhere thinking, maybe someone from Green Car Reports will blog about it.
I think we did actually, because I was at Green Car Reports at the time.
Okay.
That was the first time we met, actually.
Maybe, yeah.
You did that.
No, and that's the part of it, is just get the story to be told in a way that I think matters. And people need to be passionate about buying something. And that's what I wanted to prove, is the legacy auto brands have an opportunity to do that. They just have to do it with the right secret sauce. And I think the Jolt, the categories behind it, are what help make that possible.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. That Eve Green, right?
The CGI's not too bad either.
Hell of a night.
It's just electricity. Nothing to be afraid of.
You're trying to tell me she's not walking along with that gigantic cat, that Jaguar? Again, I will say, of the brands that have tried to position themselves in the EV realm, I would say these examples are strong.
Jaguar is nailing it as far as I'm concerned.
I think they're doing a good job.
Doing a really good job. And Aaron and I actually sat down and we looked at this the other day, because obviously those of you who are watching don't know, Aaron's actually a graduate animator.
Mm-hmm.
So she and I were looking at some of the lighting and going, actually, that's a really good there are some telltales, but what's to say about that?
Most people are probably not going to be, again, professionals that are in the space will be looking at those types of things. But I think,
But 20 seconds.
Yeah. I think the way that this is the problem, though, is that you have automotive brands. This is what I speak to all the time with Chargeway, is you have automotive brands trying to sell their brand and the automobile they have that runs on electricity. And people are saying, great, I've always known of your brand, and you now have this car that runs on this new fuel. Explain that last part.
Yeah.
And all of them go, not our job.
Yeah.
That's not our job. And then the only brand that said, yeah, that's our job, was Tesla.
Who don't advertise.
Yeah. And the oddity of it is because they were able to capture the user experience in such a way that they don't have to explain it. It just feels comfortable. It works well. And they have the right pieces of that puzzle to make it feel that, again, at the end of the day, you're selling confidence in product. And every car that's ever been sold that runs on gasoline is underpinned by an inherent trust in gasoline. You know it will work. You can find it. It's easy. It's simple. It's very easy to understand. And they don't have to explain to the sales process, so you can buy a car with emotion. Because the thing that you don't have to be scared about is already taken care of. When it comes to electric cars, that is just simply not the case. It's a complete shift in understanding.
All right. Let's see what this next one is.
What if you could drive the future today?
Oh, I hate it.
What if you could check on your car from your phone?
It's like, when was the last time I wanted to do that?
Remotely. What if you could drive with zero emissions and you never had to stop for gas again? Ever.
People don't care about that. The average people. They go...
And this is the dumb ad. This is the dumb bit at the end, right?
What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
One day.
One day.
The Nissan Leaf. Innovation that excites.
Just, you're gonna say, like, what was that? Susan, what are you looking at? Like, oh my gosh, you know.
Nissan, bless them, they did try and have that conversation about fuel, but what the line, what if you could top up on your lunch break? You know, your average gas car driver would be like,
why do I have to wait for my lunch break?
Why do I have to top up at lunch?
Yeah.
What's wrong with me? What's wrong with my car?
Yeah, right. No, exactly. What is wrong with this car? Oh, it's this new fuel. Then you better make that easier for me to understand. The user experience with the fuel is at the heart of people buying electric cars.
Yeah.
That's the end game.
And as an EV advocate, at the time, I thought it was great. This ad was great. But now I've kind of spent more time in the industry and kind of thinking more about what regular people want in a car.
Yeah.
This is a conversation that we can't have. This is a conversation that we shouldn't be having.
Well, I think that, again, and I was one of these people too, where I was, anytime I saw an ad for an EV for a long time, I was always very happy to see it. And I was like, oh, this is great. They finally spent some time and invested into it. This is good. And I was willing to take all that as evidence of this is going in the right direction. And what I think more, even these examples we're going through, is the bigger evidence is that no, it was basically just catering to a captive audience. And people got really excited about it that were already believers. But anybody else who was just not caring about, again, you can drive on zero emissions and never buy gas again. Most people are asking themselves, why did they say that?
I had to throw this one in.
Oh, the hamsters.
I mean, the idea of this is just stupid, really.
It's very much, it's like The Fly, right?
Yeah.
What and
this is where does not compute. Okay.
I forgot about this one.
So a sexy hamster lady comes out and blows, and she just come from nowhere, right? She gets out from inside the car and she blows them a kiss and knocks them over. Which, I mean, it's just crazy.
Well,
but then, you know, I think the funniest bit I have is where she's like, why are you leaving me behind?
Okay, and that's, okay, to that end right there. Okay. So if any human being sees another human they're attracted to, that's important, right?
Right.
This notion of like the car that basically looked identical to the car before they're gonna bypass this. What was just a basic hamster that turned into this like gorgeous hamster, and they're like, well, but that car now, I'm getting that. I mean, again, we're analyzing the hell out of this,
right?
But I think that's where most people go.
But I mean, it's kind of funny because as a furry, I look at this and I go, okay, cute hamsters driving cars, but why are they going to the pet store to buy more hamsters? This does not compute in my world. It feels like we're in a world where
now I get it. They're trying to make more of the. Okay, so this is the weird science element to it. Number one, they don't have bras on their head, so they should have had bras on their head while they were doing this.
Yes, well done.
Somewhere Robert Downey Jr. is like, oh, I could have had a cameo.
Yeah.
So I get that part, which also I'm just like, how is this not like part of the Me Too movement?
I know, right? So it's terribly sexist.
Oh God,
it is a terribly sexist ad, and it doesn't make any sense.
God, it keeps going.
It just keeps going.
Okay.
I mean, it just keeps going, right?
Oh shit, the breakdancing. Okay.
And they had a whole social media campaign, which was like, show us your hamster dance. They actually had a video with the dancers who had come up with this. Learn the hamster dance. And it was like, I just looked at that and went, what were you smoking?
Someone at Chevy was like, did they not see?
Yeah, Chevy, yeah.
Someone at Chevy was like, did they not see what happened on the show? Like, I mean, so this is one of those things, again, where it's taking what is a car, it's changing a conversation around to basically say it's abnormal.
Right.
And then it's also going down this just weird path of as you said, it's like, oh, this is mildly chauvinistic.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, more than mildly.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, let's go make some more hot babes because of this car. It's just, so that to me says that any woman watching this is going to go, probably not going to buy into this concept. Oh, I think I know exactly what this is.
I wasn't prepared to translate that. That little mark with the A and then the ring around it.
At?
See, that's what I said. Katie said she thought it was about.
Yeah.
But I'd never heard it. I'd never heard it said. I've always seen the mark. There it is. At AM feedback.com. I mean, what is internet anyway? What do you write to it like mail?
Here's Allison. Can you explain what internet is?
See, that's what I said. What do you mean there's nothing under the hood? Katie said she thought this was a car.
Yeah.
And it's built using wind? Like from a windmill?
Or a fan? Or a turbine? Or a fan vine?
Wow. I mean, what is i3 anyway?
Allison, can you explain what i3 is?
The all-electric BMW i3, built in a wind-powered factory with the strength of carbon fiber and BMW performance.
Okay, I see what they're trying to do with that, and here's the thing that I think, again, keeps missing the mark, is that psychologically, what was happening in 1994 is with the internet was not replacing anything. The internet was this new thing that people had to figure out. And when they began to see the benefits of it, it didn't take 21 years. People were like, this is awesome. Back in 1994, I can go into an AIM chat room and I can meet people. There's so many benefits and fun to this. This is great. And so that to me means they're missing the mark of what are they trying to explain? Because now there's this tangible thing in a car. Even to show the woman on the bike next to them that kind of gave them that look of, what are you guys talking about? Is the way I view that is like, I think average people would look at this and go, okay, these two now older people are in a car talking about it like they don't know what it is. At face value, if someone's, again, people that don't know what EVs are, if they see any electric car, i3 or any, drive down the street, are they gonna know, oh, that's electric?
Yeah, no, they don't. I mean, actually, people look at my car and go, wait, is that electric?
Well, the Bolt especially. Chevy normalized the electric car with how the Bolt kind of they approach the design of it, because it doesn't have some design element to it that makes it really stand out in being like, oh, that's odd. It's just, no, it's a functional 5-door hatch. But in this, I mean, i3, i8, BMW's design language around their i platforms, their pure electrics, are unique. But again, I think this again misses the market. What is it people are trying to understand? They get cars. They understand that part. It is about, how do you make this thing go?
You probably haven't seen this one either.
in Death Valley.
Hello? This is a British ad.
Okay.
Oh, Alex, where are you?
Okay.
Yes, officer.
License and registration. This car has no tailpipes on it.
But officer, it's all electric.
Rise to any challenge with the 100% electric Nissan Leaf.
How are average people going to view that? They're going to look at that and go, that woman is in the middle of nowhere.
How did she get there?
How did she do that? Because my first question is, how did you find the fuel to make that car do that? And then when they say, oh, well, this particular Nissan Leaf goes about 70-ish miles on a full charge, then my next question would be like, so literally, how did she do that? Like,
I even avoid Death Valley today. You can get across Death Valley in an electric car.
Sure.
It's much easier for me to stay on the freeway and go around. Now, obviously, she was rescuing her grandson.
I just don't see the point.
It's just the weirdest conceit.
Well, it basically creates a situation that is both not possible based on probably when it was made. I mean, again, maybe, but it's just also like from a user experience perspective, someone's going to look at that and I think go, so how did she do it? Can you tell me that part? Again, every time I see an ad that just kind of casually glosses over like, oh yeah, you're going to have to figure out how to make the thing go. That's what everybody's asking.
Well, and it's also the case of, like, everybody focuses on range anxiety, right? When they're talking about negativity for electric vehicles. They talk about, well, I'm going to run out of charge.
Yeah.
So what at least, 3, maybe 4 of these ads have done is, yeah, but you run out of petrol.
Yeah.
It's just like...
But the problem is people then go, yeah, but I know what a gas station is.
I know what a gas tank is.
I know what a gas tank is. I know what gas... This is, again, the reptilian brain of humans is, oh, gas is a fluid. I can hear it. I can see it. I can touch it. It's. I get it. And it's this empty space that gets filled in with this fluid. Whereas electricity is like magic to most people.
So this gives a very touchy-feely ad.
Yeah. Okay.
It's very Volkswagen.
It's very Volkswagen. It almost has that same feel of the most viewed ad ever, the old Darth Vader ad. You know, when he was outside.
The kid Darth Vader ads. They're brilliant.
Yeah. No, and again, that was always a great one because what it did is it captured a family moment and how the vehicle attached to the family in a way that was fun and memorable and cute. And that's where the storytelling about behind EVs has to get to that stage. And this right here, I think, again, it's showing that as humans, we can do things that are basically mind-bending if we actually try.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important message to be sent. And in that way, for what that just showed for the e-Golf, it really it normalizes by saying the Golf. It's still your Golf, but now it's electric.
Let's look at this last one. Maybe you can talk us through. I haven't seen this one, but it was from Project Love Day, right? So let's talk about that first.
Well, I think it was one of the moments where, again, Tesla and their not advertising. This was them, really capturing basically the consumer market that loves the brand because they're attaching themselves to it, to say, hey, why don't you guys go out of your way and make some great advertising for us, or maybe just mediocre advertising, or we'll be the judge of that.
We'll share it.
Yeah, we'll share it. We'll have people vote, and maybe something fun will come out of it. And again, it came from Steve Loveday, who's a journalist, and it was something that his daughter was, they were talking about it, and she said, well, I'd love to see, Elon get people to do this for Tesla or electric cars in general. I think it'd be great. And that's, purportedly where it all came from. But I think that what it created was a good conversation around what people think we should be doing from a messaging perspective. And what it proved was there's a lot of people still in the early mindset of how we should be doing this and environmental imagery.
Yeah, there was some really interesting ones.
Well, you advertising, a great line from the show Mad Men, Don Draper. Advertising is about one thing: happiness. It's a billboard driving down the road that makes you say, I'm okay.
Yeah.
And so that's what you want to get someone to think of when they get done looking at it, or get them to say, I want to know more. And I'm happy about the idea of wanting to know more. I was really impressed with this ad.
Space Guy, I love his comforter.
No, it's just, you watch it and the storytelling is, I think, just kind of, it's quirky, it's fun. It's like a guy in an astronaut suit, and spacesuit, and he's out mowing his lawn, he's ironing, he's brushing his teeth, he's doing the dishes. And obviously there's a level of absurdity to it, but it's kind of whimsical and playful. But this transition is, I think, what he did a great job capturing for the story. I wish this part would have been faster, like a zip, like flying along. He kind of captured here, but Spaceships for Earth is a hell of a tagline.
Yeah.
I mean, he should have won that contest hands down. He got second, which I think was Highway Robber. The spirit of what I felt this contest was trying to show, without question, the Everyday Astronaut had a better story.
And there are some great fan-made videos. I'm a fan of the one where the kid sneaks into the garage. But what I found was really funny and a little bit, was the fact that the kid could get in the car and his dad was okay with it, and then his dad joined him.
Right.
And I'd be paranoid that the kid would run away with the car or borrow it or whatever.
Yeah, depending on like the car, it's like, well, the fob's not in it, so he's probably okay. But no, that ad, I think, again, when there's kids involved, I think the one that I really enjoyed was the BMW ad where the kid was sitting in his room and the dad came home and he says like, oh, I didn't hear you come in, and the dad says, oh, electric car is sneaky. And then the kid, borrows the i3 and takes his girlfriend for a drive, and they go all around, and then he comes home thinking he's sneaking in quietly, and he plugs it in, and the dad's phone goes bling, the car's been plugged in, And then the dad opens the door and he's like, come on. But I thought that was great because what it did is it spoke to, I'm sure most people probably have done something like that. And so I think that's where the storytelling is important because it allows people to see how it fits into something they might say, I've done that. The automotive OEMs like Jag, again, I think they've done a good job of positioning their brand in their ads for EVs. But again, that's about them. And that's what they think about, as will any other OEM like Nissan or Chevy or whomever.
Right.
And so their goal is to get you to buy their car. At the end of the day, they don't care what fuel it runs on.
No,
they don't.
That makes total sense.
And so we need to then make sure the general public is asking that question.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
It's the one thing that we've just not really focused on. And again, because the car is the thing that's the crown jewel, that's what you buy. And then you use this other thing to make that car functional and useful for you, whether that's emotional or logical.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I'm focused on.
Matt, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. If you have your favorite videos, let us know in the comments because we'd love to keep this
We certainly didn't
going.
didn't hit them all.
And Matt's on Twitter. You can reach out to him. Don't shout at him for saying the particular advert was rubbish when you liked it. Have a normal grown-up conversation.
I mean, I'm happy to have a debate. I mean, I think, again, I want to give full credit to where we've gotten to because of people that are passionate, that are EV owners and innovators. But we do need to change the conversation if we're going to go mainstream. And we still win if people are driving EVs, even if they don't believe ideologically what we do. But if they start to see the benefits in their personal life because of us helping them see that an EV will work, I think it's a good thing.
And that's where ChargeWay comes in. So go check out ChargeWay, chargeway.net. Great place. Download the smartphone app, try it out. It's very intuitive to figure out how quickly you're going to be able to charge and where your next charging station is. Mm-hmm. If you happen to live in Oregon, there are charging stations in Oregon now with the little stickers on that correspond to what you see in the app. So it's really intuitive. Not in New Zealand yet, Matt, but I think you want to go there. So we're going to have to try and make that happen, right?
We're working on it. I mean, I've met a few of the people from New Zealand that are working on charging down there. We're in the U.S. now, expanding to North America here soon. But yeah, anything we do to get ChargeWay into the hands of people around the world, that's our goal.
And you into New Zealand as well.
Yes. Well, I mean, I've never been there myself, but I want to go there.
Yeah, so there you go. Good excuse.
Yeah, honestly, that'd be the great excuse. Again, the photos and how pretty it is why I just got to be there. But anything I can do to help EVs around the world, that's my goal.
So let us know in the comments below if you liked this video and if you liked the particular ads. Let us know which ones you like and which ones you don't and why. We'd love to get a conversation going on this one. And don't forget to bash that notification bell and subscribe so that you know when we've got a new episode coming. While you're at it, if you haven't already, why not switch to New Zealand's only carboNZero certified renewable electricity company? We are 100% zero emissions and 50% community owned. That is a great way to ensure that low and zero emission transportation can really take off in New Zealand. Thanks for joining me. I'm Nicky Gordon-Bloomfield. Ka kite. We'll see you next time. Hopefully.
I was like, did it work?
Yes.